It is Thursday, siku ya relationship clinic. So we want to open the clinic kama kawaida, bench tumeweka hapa kwa reception na tumeisafisha. And we have an interesting conversation we want to get into today. Today we talk about political conflict in marriage. Political conflict in marriage. I've got two amazing ladies joining me via Zoom to help with this conversation. Pauline Wawira, how are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you. It's really nice to be here. You make us wake up so early to be on this show.
That is good. Tuamke mapema tujenge taifa.
I know.
You remember?
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You remember that song?
How are you?
I'm fine. You remember that song back in the day that used to tell us, amka kumekucha, kamata jembe na panga uende shamba.
That's true.
This is it.
Yeah.
We also have Charity Kihika with us today. Charity, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, Pastor Kumu. I can't hear you very well. I don't know whether it's my volume or yours.
Maybe it's on your side. If Pauline can hear me well. Pauline, can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Okay. Charity, maybe it's on your side.
It's mine. Anyway, I'm well. I thank God.
Karibuni sana.
And like Pauline says, thank you for waking us very early. When we have to come, but we are happy to be here.
Yes.
Thank you so much for the invitation.
I was thinking about this question as we get into our topic today. And I was wondering, Pauline, should politics be something that a couple discusses, before they get married?
Well, maybe it's good too, but you see, politics keeps changing.
Yes.
Yeah? I mean, like after every 5 years, you get a. So I think what you can discuss around politics is your values around leadership. That one is constant. When you discuss about what are your values when it comes to leadership, leaders in our country.
Yeah.
So maybe that one can be fine. But then, of course, after every 5 years, you have to keep discussing. Now we have these people. What do you think? So, and everybody has a mind of themselves. You don't have to all choose the same, same candidate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Charity, there are those who find themselves in a situation where the husband has insisted, because I am the man of the house and I am the leader, this is a candidate we are going to support, mpende msipende, by force, by fire. How do you deal with that?
I think it would be quite unfair for a husband to think that they can govern the type of a leader the wife would want, primarily because these are very, very personal issues, and because of people dynamics and the uniqueness of all of us, we don't have to think the same. We don't have to believe in the same candidate for that matter. And like it has been said, every person has, for example, I am one who is thinking of women in leadership positions.
Yeah. And
maybe a traditional man would think men should continue to lead. So you see, we have to appreciate that we both have different needs that we would like to be met in the political realm, and so we need to be able to agree. And a husband ought not to make decisions for a leader for the wife. I think they need dialogue. Yeah.
Okay. With the current situation we find ourselves in, Pauline, there've been, let's look at this whole thing from a Christian perspective. There's been prophecies spoken on both sides. And one of the things I have seen is, because we believe so much in the prophecy that was spoken about this person or this person, we are very adamant, and we are coming off as very arrogant, we are coming off as very proud because of what we have believed. So how do you handle a situation like that, where a husband believes the Lord has spoken, it is candidate X, and the wife believes, no, the Lord has spoken, it's candidate Y, and both of them are holding on to this? How do you navigate through that in a marriage?
Yeah, but that's definitely it's a difficult place in a marriage when both of you believe differently, and especially because maybe I know why I believe in a certain prophecy, or maybe I've tested it before, so I believe it. So I mean, it's important to respect one another's. I think for me, what I say is, don't keep rubbing it in. Because if this is what you believe in, if this is the prophecy, if really there was a prophecy, that you have believed in and it is different from you and your spouse, then I think you just respect one another. It's not something you have to keep on, talking about, rubbing it in, no, mine is the one, remember last time they did. So I think when you talk, when you share and realize you are at different points, then respect each other's views at that point. Because what happens is, if you continue on now dwelling on that, it is gonna cause a big issue in your marriage. Remember, you probably have children who are listening.
Yeah.
So one is hearing this, one is hearing this. So in the process, they might also be confused. So who is this God who talks two different things, So I think it's just about respecting each other's views and yeah.
Charity, one of the statements that has been said over and over again, especially during this season, is usieke siasa kwa roho. Don't put politics in your heart, put it in your lungs. But for many people, it's easier said than done, because we are very emotional about what we have believed and the candidates we are supporting. And so how do we get to the place where we don't allow these emotions to affect our marriage? Because we have a funny way of doing politics in this nation, that if I'm supporting candidate X, then candidate Y and all the people who support them are my enemies. I cannot see anything good in them. So if my wife is supporting candidate Y and me, I'm supporting candidate X, how do I overlook all that?
Is that question directed to me?
Yes.
Okay. First, politics. Actually, let me talk about elections, because it's what we are talking about. Conflict in marriage during this election period. These are things a family can be able to, a couple can be able to preempt.
Okay.
We need to understand and appreciate that these are events that happen once and then life gets back to normal. So it ought not to inform our marriage in terms of how we go about it and all those things. It's an event, and events come and they go. What remains is a process now of ensuring that our country, where our marriages can thrive, would take place. And so we should preempt first and foremost. And secondly, it is true, it's easier said than done, kuweka politics kwa lands. These are things to do with emotions and feelings, and love and respect for the people that you value, and you would want to find them in leadership because of the values that they have. Maybe they are better people than this. One person could be better than the other one. When you look at their profile, they have a lot to offer. They have a good history of their leadership. They have done so much for the country, and maybe the other spouse is looking for someone because they are a family member, even if they have no, maybe, let me talk of morals also. Morals that I value. Definitely, I'll be affected. And I will see that my husband or my wife is leaning towards the wrong person in terms of the way we look at this person. And we could both be agreeing, yes, this person has no leadership skills. It's about the issue that we have seen in this country, that most of the times the politicians that stand up for election, they pay for those positions, they bribe for those positions, they do a lot of things. So it's incumbent upon me and my husband, or upon couples, to sit back and appreciate that this is not something they can allow their emotions to be carried so much deeply into those things, and they should be able to have a boundary, understand what is good for them as a couple, and agree on the values that they want, and then of course be empathetic. Feel for your husband if they want the other person that you don't like. Feel for your wife and appreciate that they have an independent mind, and it is okay, and you ought not to hate your wife or to feel bad about it, because feelings are there, yes, but you need to discuss around those emotions, and then you agree that at the end of the day, by the way, it's not about us. Our responsibility is to vote for them, but it's not to bear them in our hearts. They don't have any mandate in my house, and so I can't even want to discuss much about them. I teach myself, I preempt that these are strangers anyway, and my marriage is something that is really it's sacred. I mean, to be honest, I value. This is where I come home. This is the man I have lived with, and Pastor Okumu, for so many years. So do I want to have an issue with my husband? I carry another man who I don't even know. I mean, for what? We need to preempt that these people are looking to make their own things, but I'm also looking to build my home. And so niweke kwa lungs, nipumue, niende, ule ataingia, nitamuombea tu, atulinde vizuri, na asitupeleke kwa njia zile saa zingine they are making us not to agree. That would be my responsibility. But my husband is not my enemy or my wife. So emotions are apana. I should keep it aside and remember that this is an event and I shouldn't be very serious about it.
I like what you've said. The man in your life is your husband, not this politician.
Yes.
So Pauline, yes, Pauline, is it possible to actually discuss, if you're on opposite sides, is it possible to discuss politics in the house and even bringing in the angle of the children? Is it possible, or do you just steer? Is it safer to just, when we're in this house, we don't talk about politics? Is it possible?
No, I think it's important to talk about politics, even in our family. We can't do. I mean, it's part of us, and we want even to teach our children about it, because those who have young ones, in a few years they'll be voting. So I don't think it's a topic that we should do away with, but it's also a way of let the children know. Probably if you have different views about one candidate, I believe it's good for children to see parents discussing maybe different preferences, because I really like, I think it's Billy Graham who said that if two people think the same in a marriage, then one of them is unnecessary, because really, how can you always be thinking the same? You know, we should be able to discuss. Oh no, I don't like. I mean, I had moments like that with my husband where he thought this candidate for a certain seat is better than, and we were discussing, and the children came in. So I think it is, and then at the end of the day, we said, okay, let everybody do their homework. So I don't think politics should be done away with in families. We need to embrace politics.
But discuss it maturely.
And agree to disagree. I think it's very okay. We cannot like one thing. I would have a challenge with that. Well, it's really nice if a couple can be able to maybe say, oh, this is the kind of leader we have. And I want to believe in most instances. But I know I remember one person told me recently, this is the first election that they have chosen the same person with her husband. All the other elections, they've been married for years. They all had different candidates. But they're okay. They are living, they are bringing up their children. They are a couple. So I think that's the thing, allowing each other, because we don't lose our minds when we get married. We still have our independent minds, and we should use them. And at times you might talk and make the other person think, oh, by the way, I hadn't thought about that. And then this other person. So I think politics should be discussed in a healthy way in a family.
Okay. Charity, let me paint a scenario for you. Tell me what do you do in a scenario like this? You're married to this man. Let's say this man is not born again. You're going to church, you're born again. The man of God in church has declared that this is the candidate that God has said we should vote for. And you are saying amen to that. But this is not the party or the candidate that you have been voting for as a couple. And now you have to go home and tell your husband, this is what the man of God says. How do you handle a scenario like that?
I think matters to do with politics again and faith. People should be able to differentiate. No faith should impose on another couple that this is what my pastor says and this is what we should do. I like what Pauline has said. We both have independent minds. And so we can discuss, yes, but I think at the end of the day, one has to be also very wise. And remember also, we talk of secret ballot. Some things, it's better to be wise than to debate so much about it. Because your spouse will not enter with you in that box they give us. So you can seek for peace and understanding, and just maybe settle the matter in your heart, and allow your spouse to know that you are thinking about it, But this thing about believing what the servant of God has said, and like you have said, my husband may not be born again.
Yeah.
I think faith is not something you can force people to drink or put with the way they do intravenous. It's a personal choice.
Yes.
So and I'm actually finding I'm feeling quite uncomfortable this particular time when people are talking about, oh, the Lord has spoken, the Lord has spoken. This one is for God. Every human being is a child of God. And it is not for me to judge for him. I don't know whether they repented in their home. I don't live with them. I don't know what they have discussed with God. I don't know whether when I am busy bashing them that God cannot take this one, can take the other one. Then God has already dealt with this person. This is a human being who has a heart, and God speaks to all of us in different ways. So I think we need to wake up also as believers, particularly because this is really for most of us that we are really castigating other people and exalting others. None is righteous, to be honest. We all need the mercies of God.
Very true.
And God himself sent his son for that one who is really not. So you can't come and tell me because the pastor said or the man of God said this, and I don't know about that particular conviction that you have, then you are forcing me into it. I think we need to understand that we are different levels, and it's good to value other people's opinions. And I don't have to be strongly opinionated, and to a point of making demands, and being seen like I am the one who has been given the mandate to force people. I think it's wrong. I do not, honestly, as a human being, has a mandate to declare and demand that this is the person, and so my spouse or my children ought to vote this one because these are my convictions. I don't think that is a good thing to do, particularly in a marriage, because marriage, again, I'm saying it's we must be able to appreciate the place of marriage and what we can agree on, and be willing to to appreciate that your right may not be right for me, and it's still okay. We need to reach to a level where we can agree to disagree and remain a couple.
I like what you've shared. Pauline, I'm just thinking about something that Charity has shared, roping in the children into this conversation, because one of the conversations that we've been having is the low voter turnout. And one of the things that a good number of people are saying is that a lot of the younger people did not vote. And I remember seeing a post. Somebody had said, in my house, it was compulsory. Kila mtu amuke, kila mtu na kadi yake ya kura, na kila mtu anapigia mtu fulani kura. Is it right to impose on our children, or even to force them to vote, if they feel like they don't want to?
We shouldn't force them. We should encourage them.
Okay.
Because, I mean, if it's a conversation you've been having in your house, and that's why I said we really need to talk about these things, then they should see the value in doing it. But you see, at times we say things but don't do them. The way we say habits are caught, they are not taught. So we are saying go, but yet they have had her saying, we don't need to vote. Even if we vote, things will still be the same. So really, if then they say, see, our parents say the things will remain the same, why should we go and vote? And then on that day, you're like, go and vote. Yet they have had you. So I think we shouldn't force it on them, but we should encourage them. I believe this is something that needs to start earlier on. I was actually thinking, why doesn't it be put even in the curriculum? Democracy, electing leaders, things that we keep reading and reading. Probably in the social studies curriculum, but I'm just saying it's something we need to put it in them. Because it was quite sad that many young people honestly didn't vote. We really need their voice.
Okay. Political conflict in marriage. Some of your comments coming in today. My good friend John Gidanga says politics should be handled lightly in a couple's conversation, even if they have dissenting views about some political leadership. Couples should not preoccupy themselves with political affairs to the extent of staging an altercation. Thank you so much for sharing that. And then I have Willie. You say, good morning, Pastor Jemo. I'm loving having the conversation, I just wanted to say that maybe perhaps we should ask ourselves what is more important to us as a couple, elections or our marriage. It's like budgeting, where one needs to identify what are the needs and wants. It is sad that most couples choose wants. Some things are not a must to get involved in. That's my thinking. Willie from Comarock, thank you very much for your comment this morning. Charity, back to you. How does a couple who are on opposing sides handle the situation we find ourselves in? Because just looking at how people are responding on social media, those who are on the yellow corner are saying, tuliwambia mkusikia, muzoe hii sauti, accept and move on. Those on the other side are saying, those on the blue corner are saying, mmezoea kutuibia. This time around you will not succeed. So I'm trying to imagine this scenario in a house. How do you deal with it?
I think first and foremost, empathy is really needed. Mm-hmm. We must be sympathetic. As much as I know, we say that sympathy is not good, but sympathy also is good. Mm-hmm. At this particular time. Sympathize and empathize with the person on the other side. Be sensitive, because these are people we will live with. Mm-hmm. They are people that we value, and our differences should not cause us to taunt them, so to say. Mm-hmm. We need to be very sensitive, and particularly for those of us who are claiming, and it's a good claim, yes, that we are believers. Yeah. We are on the right side. If we are on the right side, I would like to appeal to everyone who is on the right side to understand that we need to be gracious, mm-hmm. we need to be humble, and also we need to embrace each other at this particular moment. And remember, another election will be coming in a few years to mm-hmm. come. So we need to be gracious with one another.
Okay.
I would also like to think that we should embrace people's differences. Mm. Every person has a choice, and they have made their choice. I have made my choice, yeah. And my choice is good for me. The choice is good for the other person. So I need to embrace the choice of the other person. So, and as I celebrate, I should not be like taunting them. That's, I mm-hmm. think, what I would think at this particular time. Sensitivity is key. Is key. I am thinking not only of couples, but I'm thinking of places of work. Yeah. Where we have staff, and like Pauline said, it's good to discuss. Mm-hmm. But when we discuss, we all agree that I value and I respect your opinion. Yeah. It's the same also for those who are celebrating. We need to respect people's views, and to not kind of like laugh at them, think they have lost. Mm. In actual fact, you may laugh at somebody, or celebrate to want to taunt them because you have celebrated, just to realize later on that in actual fact you never celebrated anything. I mean, you never really won anything. Mm-hmm. This person may never even give you what you think. I am looking at our people and I'm feeling sad for them, that we are spending so much of our energy celebrating. And I mean, at the end of the day, what we need is peace at home for couples, for our children, for our grandchildren. Mm-hmm. We need to thrive. So it's not about rejoicing like we have won eternal life. This is something that will come and go. We are still in this world.
For some people, it feels like they have won eternal life. I'm just wondering, Pauline, are we saying then you should not celebrate? Because if I've been putting my weight behind this person and finally they've won, am I not to celebrate? Because also, if my wife was not supporting them, why do they have to interpret my celebration as though I'm taunting them or rubbing it in their face? Sasa hata hataki nione TV, hata nisikie watu wengine wanadance wanasema nini. How do we handle that? Tuzime TV sasa. Hataki nisikize commentaries, what people are saying. You know, if I
Yeah.
say yes to something, I'm being looked at like,
Yeah, yeah.
how do you
No,
handle that?
I mean, when we are sincere in our celebration,
Yeah.
we also know it ourselves. You know it. You know, when I'm celebrating sincerely without wanting to brush it in, I know it. When I want to brush it in, I also know it. So I think what we need to celebrate with humility. We cannot not celebrate. Again, it's not right, because I mean, a race has a winner, and any kind of, so if the person I was more inclined with gets it, I mean, I would have a problem if someone is just like this. I want to see some celebration, but how much of that celebration is it? Is it for drumming it in? Is it genuine? Do you prolong it? Because you can also over prolong it, because you don't also overdo the celebration. So I think it's good. So, and also for me to know that I should also not feel bad when my spouse is excited or happy or wants to listen. Even I'm uncomfortable around the person speaking on TV because it was not my preference. I can give them a moment, you know, and then probably just listening, because it's also okay. Actually, one way of healing is to be aware of social media, get away from social media. If the person has, because it will rub it on more for you. But we should celebrate with humility, and also you should not feel like you should also lose with dignity. Nothing is wrong with losing. It's just a way. It's another way. Next time you will celebrate. Really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Charity, how would you answer this individual? It says, agree to disagree, be done maturely. What would you do in a case where couples are from different tribes? Is it wise to storm your spouse with words like, nyinyi mmezoea tu kutuibia, nyinyi mmezoea tu kuenda kotini? If your spouse is telling you things like those, how do you handle that?
That's very sensitive.
Yes.
If a spouse is saying such things, I think this is what we call they're like could it be like a cliches that you people, you're always like this.
Stereotypes.
Nobody is always this like that, like what we say. There's nothing like always. People fluctuate. Today you are this, tomorrow you are that. We are never one constant. Nyinyi mmezoea kutuibia, wengine, I don't know what. I think in such a case, I would encourage the person who is feeling the loss, because we have, you know, but maybe my husband is from a different community. If he is feeling the loss, I should honestly empathize with him. I should feel with him, because he is the one who has lost. It's like grief. When somebody has lost, and it is true what we are saying, it's a loss like any other loss, and it must be validated. I must be able to respect that my husband has lost, or he should be able to respect that I have lost. And so it's not about my community, because really I'm his wife. I'm not the wife of. I'm not his wife because of the community I come from. It's because of the choice that we made. He made rather, and so he should be able to understand that it's not my community, it's not me who has stolen from him, and actually it's not even my community. This thing was done by the people that are given the mandate to do it, and so we need to separate and address the real issues. It's not your wife who is from a different community that has caused you to lose, or your husband. So it's important to separate issues within marriage, so that we can live a life after the election. It's an event. It's really an event. So we shouldn't really tuweke tu kwa lungs.
And in fact,
and it's not the people, your community, that has stolen from me. No. It's just that you are unfortunate this time round again. And so it shouldn't be about other people. It should be about it shouldn't be about your wife rather. I hope I'm being clear.
You're very clear.
It's
You're
not
very
about
clear.
the other people. It's about
it's
them.
interesting. Knowing how we as Kenyans, probably in a year's time, a year and a half's time, we'll still start complaining about the same leaders we are celebrating right now. As we finish, Pauline, what would you advise those couples who are at a place now, they're not even talking, because this thing, walieka kwa roho sana. hii nyumba hakuna kukula mpaka tuende kotini.
Yeah.
What would you advise such a couple in that scenario right now?
Well, let me first say we cannot underestimate the pain.
Yes.
Because we might be talking the way we are talking because we are not at the heart of it. You know, there are those who invested their money, their emotions, were away from family. So we are talking of different scenarios. So there are those that are at the heat of it who have actually experienced it. So I'll just allow them to allow each other to be. You know, healing is not rushed. You know, so let somebody, you know, if you feel like I don't want to have my 3 meals today, I cannot eat, it is okay. Those are the initial stages of grief. So don't say wachana kwani ulieka kwa roho. I mean, now how do you say that to someone who has just lost? So if or their candidate or their whoever they are inclined to, maybe they were very, you know, at the heart of it. So just walk with them, allow them to be. If they need to vent, allow them to vent. Don't judge them, you know. And again, like I said, don't wrap it in. Don't say you need to move on. They do know they need to move on, but at that moment they are grieving. So allow that process. It could be the denial, it could be the anger stage, or bargaining. You know, and then now probably, like you say, they know there's a court process coming, so that's another 2 weeks, maybe. Allow them to go through that, and then another time. There's something that happens when we don't force healing or rush it. They will heal in a better way. So just be there, I think. You don't even have to say anything. But let them know when you need me, I am here. Affirm them, because they'll come up again. We cannot underestimate the pain that some families are going through. It's not easy to lose. We cannot underestimate that. So allow the process, be there. Healing cannot be rushed, but it will eventually come. Acceptance will come.
Charity, one more scenario as we finish that we haven't looked at. How about a scenario where let's use the husband. The husband was contesting for a seat, and maybe the wife was not for the idea, and it has really affected their finances, and the chap didn't get the position. What would you tell a family like that?
I think I would encourage the wife to be gracious, because we are saying this is a loss like any other loss. I think maybe we offer support in terms of not judging him. He could have won, so think about many scenarios as a wife. And for me, be very gracious, because this was for the family, and the whole family has lost. So be there to appreciate that your husband did his role, and with time, you'll be able to overcome this loss. And again, we are saying we validate the loss, we validate also the pain, and we now go through the process of healing. With time, and as they continue, maybe being gracious with one another, also accepting and owning the process instead of blaming him. You know, because if finally he decided, as much as you're against it, to go ahead with it, then as a wife, and you're already in this process relationship, I think you need to be able to go through the same process and recover. It could be a loss also of another thing. So the same thing, appreciate it's a loss, and help him and help your family also. Be there for your family to support your partner, so that at least he can also recover as you recover. Maybe something I would like to say also, the issue of I don't know whether I should call it accepting, but accept so that you can be able to appreciate that this thing has happened. Don't be in denial. Once you accept that he has lost, and you are in it as a family, because whatever you do in a family setup is for the entire family. If he won, you would have won. So try to see his reasoning behind joining and support him. That's what I would like to encourage this particular person, the wife particularly.
Thank you so
much.
Maybe
to add,
half a minute.
A little bit. Half a minute. If the person, if the spouse supporting the spouse who did not make it, is overwhelming, they can also seek support for themselves. You know, just maybe seek therapy as they support their spouse who lost. But of course, I don't mean you rush your spouse who lost to therapy, because it's still very early to start therapy for the one who has lost. But for you yourself who is supporting your spouse, you can seek therapy, somewhere to vent, so that when you come back home, because you can honestly feel disappointed. I told you, why did you? So that's what I thought I should add.
Thank you so much, ladies, for your wisdom and your counsel this morning. We thank the Lord for you. Asanteni sana.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Aya, lazima nifunge clinic, wakati umekwisha. Muda umenipatia kisogo. And our doctors on duty today have to go and minister to others somewhere else. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope today's conversation has been beneficial to you. Until next time, God bless you.
Thank you for watching. Remember, subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can get notified whenever we upload new fresh content every day. Stay tuned and enjoy fresh, uplifting content.